Hari Om. With Guru's grace and Bhagwan's blessings, we'll begin the study of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Before we go into the chapter, a little bit about Srimad Bhagavad Gita itself. As I had mentioned the previous yajna also, that Bhagavad Gita is a book of wisdom, holistic wisdom. It helps us to look at life as a whole and to lead a whole life, as Pujya Guruji puts it. Because when we look at life partially and we lead a partial life, we experience a sense of incompleteness at every level. We experience sorrow, we experience pain, fear, and different these negative emotions. But when we look at life holistically, it helps us to gain that complete fulfillment. So Gita is a book, you can say, of wisdom, and it is eternal wisdom. It is not something which will go out of syllabus. It was relevant in the good old days, it is relevant now, and it will be relevant in future also. Because it reveals the supreme reality, which was in the past, which is now, which will remain in future. It is revealing the truth as it is. The main teaching of Bhagavad Gita, or after learning Bhagavad Gita, what will happen is that we will be able to understand our own real identity. Who am I will become very clear. Because based on our self-understanding or self-image, we look at world and we look at everything else in this world. We look at our relationship, we look at God from the reference point of myself. If that reference point or the self-identity is not clear, then everything goes little haywire. Just as if you want to draw a circle, the first most important thing is we have to place the compass on that center. And then we draw the whole circle. But if the center is moving and shaking, I remember in my childhood I used to draw this circle, and at times that compass is to move, and the circle is to go little, out of shape. Similarly, if our self-identity is not very clear, then our understanding of the world also goes little haywire, and understanding about God also becomes a little foggy. So the main theme of Gita is to reveal us our own identity. Therefore, it begins with the word dharma and concludes with the word mama, mama dharma. What is my nature? What is my real nature is revealed. Once that is clear, then there will be clarity about our duties also. We saw in the first chapter, Arjuna becomes confused regarding his duties. So in order to remove this confusion, Bhagwan reveals to him his identity. If suppose some person comes to you and asks you, what should I do? The first question will be to that person, that who are you? What is your identity? Based on that will be your duty. Like here, when Arjuna came in the battlefield, he looked at his own people standing in front of him and in his army also. And he did not know from what standpoint I should look at them. Should I look at my teacher as a student? Should I look at my relatives as their relative? Or should I look at them from the standpoint of my duty here as a leader, as a protector of dharma? And based on that identity, he will be able to ascertain his duties properly. So Bhagavad Gita is a universal scripture which teaches us this wisdom of our own self. There are these 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, but the most important chapter is this second chapter which we will study. It gives us the gist of the entire Bhagavad Gita. If we are able to understand the second chapter, we will be able to understand the entire Bhagavad Gita very easily. It is the style of our great masters and also style of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. First he tells what he will tell, then he tells, and then he tells what he told. Like a good speaker. First he should tell what he will tell, so that people are, they are warned in advance. Then he should tell, and then he should, again give the gist of his talk. Similarly, we find in Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter is the gist of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan tells in this chapter what he will tell. Then from 3rd chapter to 17th chapter, he tells. And 18th chapter, again Bhagavan tells what he told. Therefore, it's very interesting. Therefore, these two chapters, the 2nd and the 18th, are the largest chapter. There are 72 verses in the 2nd chapter and 78 verses in the 18th chapter. So this 2nd chapter gives the entire vision or the entire wisdom of Gita very clearly. The first few verses, about 10 verses, reveals the condition of Arjuna again. As I said, that unless the diagnosis is done properly, we will not be able to understand what medicine we have to take and how to deal with the situation. So the first 6 chapters again reveals the condition of Arjuna, and the most important thing which happens is that Arjuna also realizes his own condition. So it is one thing to be not well or one thing to be ignorant and another thing to realize that I am not well or I am not knowledgeable and to approach the right person. Many people, they say, oh, I am fine. Many says that, oh, I have all the knowledge, I don't want any knowledge. See, it is easier to teach a person who is ignorant and at least knows that he is ignorant. But it is very difficult to teach a person who is ignorant and thinks he is wise. So Arjuna realizes that I am thoroughly confused, that I need guidance, that unless I am clear in my mind, I won't be able to fight or I won't be able to perform any action. He had just given up all hope. He had just dropped his weapons. So he realized that the only person who can guide me at this moment is Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. He did not know the glory of the Lord completely at that time. In fact, he took him as his friend, a wise friend. and a knowledgeable, a wise, knowledgeable friend. But when in the 11th chapter, Arjuna saw the Virat Roop of the Lord, then he realized his greatness, real greatness of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. But here he realized that I am confused and I should take guidance. If I cannot see things clearly, I should take help of those who can see. It helps. It's like, and what prevents us from taking help from others? Our own ego, our own pride. It is observed that when people get lost also, that those who are very proud, they don't ask for direction. They will keep driving here, there, this, that. अरे पूछो किसी से. They say no. But those who don't have any such pride and vanity, they will ask for direction and they will reach their destination quickly. Similarly here, Arjuna realized that I am lost, that I have to seek direction. So he surrenders to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and requests him to teach him, to guide him. So the first 10 verses are Arjuna's condition and his surrender. Then from the 11th verse onwards, Bhagavan guides him, teaches him. And the main thing which he reveals to Arjuna is his real identity. He tells him who you are really. What is your real identity is brought out very clearly. It's like a person when he doesn't know where he is and what he is doing, that person should be told his real identity. So we have in the beginning of Bhagavan's teaching the great revelation about the nature of the self. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Bhagavan tells Arjuna that self is that which is neither born nor does it die. Beautiful revelation of the nature of our own self. It is like telling a sugar that you are sweet. It is like telling fire that you are what? Hot. Similarly, it is like telling us that you are that self which is birthless and deathless. That is beautifully revealed in many verses. Then Bhagavan also teaches Arjuna that before you gain this vision and the experience of the self, you have to live in this world, you have to interact with the world, interact with the people. So how I can live in such a way that not only I attain prosperity and greatness in this world, but also ultimately attain that enlightenment, that self-realization, that is also revealed in some later verses. So till verse number 30, Bhagavan talks about the nature of the self. Then from 31 first verse onwards, he reveals the path of from action to samadhi, from karma to that experience of that supreme self. He explains the whole path very, very beautifully and systematically. The entire path through this, he reveals the path of karma, he reveals the path of upasana, he reveals the path